What is up, comic fans? Welcome to 5 and 5 for the week of April 4th, 2018. I'm Connor Christensen with Adventures in Poor Taste, and I'm counting down the 5 best comics of the week. Now, last week we had a crazy week for DC with 2 events coming out, with the conclusion of Metal with issue number 6 and the continuation of Doomsday Clock number 4. Now, wasn't as crazy as a week for any publishers this week, but the 5 books that we found are kick-ass and you gotta pick them up, so let's dive right in. Alright, our number 5 choice goes out to all the millennials out there watching, which I'm gonna assume is most of you, with Rugrats R's for Reptar Special number 1 for 2018. It's written by Nicole Andelfinger and drawn by Esdras Cristobal. If you're a 90s baby like me, you 100% remember the Rugrats. They were the cartoon playing when you're growing up on Nickelodeon. They were awesome, they were hilarious, they're still fun to watch today. At number 4, we've got Analog number 1 by way of Image Comics, written by Jerry Dugan, with art by Irish newcomer David O'Sullivan. Dugan's been a Marvel mainstay for years now. He wrote The Uncanny Avengers, he did Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm loving his Deadpool run, and he's the guy who's helming the new Marvel event for the year, Infinity Countdown. Analog follows the story of an armed courier named Jack in an age of time where the internet doesn't exist anymore, so vital information is physically carried from place to place in briefcases, and obviously people try to steal that information the same way they do with the internet, except instead of hacking, they shoot at each other. The twist is that Jack was instrumental in the downfall of the internet that has plunged the world into chaos. So not only will he be fighting the robots, spies, mercs, and government agents who come after him for the information that he's got cuffed to his hand with a briefcase, he'll probably be grappling with himself after realizing that he kinda is part of the reason why the internet or the world is so fucked. In the words of the immortal Vince Vaughn, it's wedding season! That's right, number 3 this week, we got Batman number 44, which sees Batman, aka Bruce Wayne, if you don't know that by now, why are you even watching this video, and Catwoman really diving headfirst into the preparations for their huge wedding. Writer Tom King has been putting together one hell of a Batman run since Batman Rebirth. I love Scott Snyder's New 52 run, but god damn, Tom King is just killing the game right now, and he really sent the comic book collecting industry into a fucking frenzy with Batman number 24 when he had bats propose to cats. Like I said, the wedding preparations are ramping up. Catwoman's looking for a dress, Batman is doing his Bruce Wayne thing and using all of his connections to make the perfect wedding, but after all, this is Gotham City. So, it'll probably be a more lighthearted issue, but expect the villains to get in the way, Batman's gonna have to stop them, and I'm just gonna guess there's gonna be some mushy-gushy, super loving proclamation of Batman's undying love for Catwoman, how he'll do anything and he'll stop any villain to make sure she has the perfect day. It's gonna be adorable. This issue is worth picking up just because Mikel Janin is doing the art. I love Greg Capullo's art. He did great on Metal. He was awesome in New 52. But Janin's better. His lines are so crisp and everything is so detailed and it has this lifelike feel to it that it's just awesome. I cannot wait to read this issue. You gotta also make sure to pick up the variant cover. The variant cover has Selena Kyle looking in the mirror, she has Catwoman looking back at her. It'd be nice to get those two framed up next to each other on a wall, hang that up, let people see it, that'll get the ladies going. At number 2 this week, we have a sequel, prequel, really, 20 years in the making. We're talking Xerxes, Fall of the House Darius, and Rise of Alexander number 1, written and drawn by the legend himself, Frank Miller. 20 years after the release of 300, Frank Miller is returning to the highly stylized world of ancient Greece. He's telling the story of the rise of Xerxes. Remember that guy, the hilariously baritone villain from the Zack Snyder 300 movie? He's the main character, if you couldn't tell by the title. Plus, there's a 0% chance that any of this is in slow motion, because that's what I hated about those movies. 300's great, but the second one was like, Jesus Christ, this movie's 80% in slow motion. This is a comic book. There's gonna be no slow motion whatsoever. Unless you make it slow motion in your own imagination, do your thing. And the number 1 book this week, The Punisher, number 223, by Matthew Rosenberg and Guy Villanova. Now you might be thinking, hey Connor, didn't you already talk about The Punisher when the last issue came out in 5 and 5? You're goddamn right I did. And I'll continue talking about this book until it's not good. But right now, this is one of Marvel's best ongoing titles, and each week it comes out, I'm more entertained than I was the last time it came out. These books feature some of the most creative kills in the Punisher's history. Each week they somehow top themselves with something more ridiculous than the last. 2 months ago we had the Punisher rip a guy in half. The last issue, you had the Punisher take the top off a tank, smash people with it, then drop said tank onto a crowd of people, meanwhile absolutely blasting people's faces off with his shoulder Gatling gun. It was seriously the most entertaining thing I've seen. Even though Frank Castle's in the War Machine armor and he's actually a bona fide superhero at the moment, this series has still featured some prototypical classic Frank Castle moments that cement him as the world's most dedicated vigilante. To a fault. The fact that he's breaking UN law and he's could start a nuclear war doesn't faze him because he's gonna take down that asshole Chernayan dictator. And it's awesome. This issue sees the War Machine armor falling apart as Frank Castle tries to stop a nuclear bomb from going off in the atmosphere. So I'm pretty excited to see what Rosenberg does with Frank when he's outside the War Machine armor. Can he write Frank Castle without his super suit? Yeah, probably. Have you read a Rosenberg book? He doesn't make bad books. This is going to be the best book of the week. I'm calling it. I know it's going to be great. I love these books. I am super stoked on what Rosenberg is doing with the character. All right, and there you have it. There's the top 5 books from this week, April 4th, 2018. As always, like, rate, subscribe, review, share with your friends, call me out in the comments, tell me I'm right, tell me I'm wrong, and chirp me about the Penguins who are going for their 3rd cup in a row, and they're going to do it, baby. Anyway, I'll check you guys next week.